synergy with railgun wall bangs and tranks.
Yeah. And we
That
see
is
that
not a bad
mortars
idea
being
to-
fired, everything's being done, just trying to see if they can get a good fight getting through most of the armor. But Sorcerer says, you know what, this isn't a good spot for you to dome. You're not going to dome me, I'll just leave. I'll leave, I'll do my evolve, and I'm going to go off and do what I want. He has 2 points right now in Warp Blast and 1 point in Abduct, so that's going to allow him to pretty much do what he wants in regards to moving around and getting that initial burst, but he's not going to be able to force his way through right now at this point in time, and he knows this. That's why he's leaving. He wants to evolve. He wants to get that extra damage, and even if he was able to, like, to barely burst through like most of their health and maybe get 1 down, he doesn't want 1 down. He wants 2. He wants as many as he can get. So if he can leave, stage up, and get some armor quick, which is what you see right now with the Mammoth Bird, he'll be able to do that, get his armor, engage, and possibly get 2 downs with more ability points being used. So it's going to come down to what he spends the ability points on at this point. What do you think? 3-point Warp Blast?
I was going to say 3 warp, a supernova, but he doesn't take supernova at all. He does go 1 decoy, so he can use a little bit of that to try to escape the hunters. They are already through his armor. Ooh, Cabot in a little bit of trouble here. Fob needs to get freed. Bugsy is going to.
And here we go,
take
Warp
the shot
Blast.
right there.
Oh, the dodge on the heal burst coming out of Bugsy, keeping him up. Roy was able to burn through it with a greatly aimed mortar shot, going to be going right over the wall and landing right on top of Source. He's going to sit there and try and eat, but he's unable to do so. Gets immediately interrupted by not only Amy Bot, but Roy. And here comes the Dome, so he's on mitigation at this point, trying to keep himself alive. Trank's going to be making sure that he's revealed, so Cabot's constantly going to be able to shoot him. Roy is right now taking a little bit of damage from Wildlife, slowly going to be getting healed up by Bugsy. And the Dome actually gets released, and out he comes. That was actually a really quick release.
Yeah, Amy Bot was afraid that she'd go down back there in the corner. Val is the only one who could have protected her. Cloaking with Cabot wouldn't have really done anything because the Wraith would just keep right on Amy Bot because it was so close. Cloaking close to the monster, you're just going to get juggled even though you're invisible. Yeah. So since Bugsy wasn't in position to help keep Amy Bot alive, they didn't want to risk the down penalty on the Trapper. They'll take their 1 bar of health damage. At least it's something, and they are not going to risk the down penalty on the Trapper. Probably not a bad idea. A safe play, not an aggressive play. If they would have got Amy Bot saved via the med gun and a heal burst, then they could have done more damage on Source, but they're just trying to play it safer right now. And let's see if that pays off. Abduct coming out on Fob. This is a great opening for Source right here.
Yep, and
if
there goes the mortars.
Warp Blast coming in hot. Oh, he is getting beat down a bit. And the thing is, cloaking with the support while Val is healing you is not effective whatsoever. That med gun will point directly to your forehead. Warp Blast coming in hot. That will connect. And we almost have Cabot down. If Cabot drops, the DPS of this team drops as well. But no, Cabot.
And there's the Dome. Amy gets him in now, which means that it's time for the Ring Around the Rosie decoy shows. You see right now, Fave is getting healed up very quick by Bugsy. They're going to be using that Dust Tag to make sure he is constantly revealed so that they're able to get that damage out. And here he goes for round 2 against Cabot. His Cloak is right now on cooldown. He's looking to go in. Mortars get shot, though. He's able to dodge, and Warp Blast comes in, getting healed up as much as he can from Bugsy. Bugsy's just doing what he can. Heal Burst, everything's being used to keep Fave alive. Roy's is trying to launch these mortars and connect them all, just slowly chipping away through his health, down to 2 bars of health. Fave's still not down, just doing what he can to stay alive. Mortars getting blasted just short, barely missing. And here we go, going for Fave. Does he get the down? No, Heal Burst comes in, keeping him alive. Here comes the Warp Blast. Down goes Fave, which means Source survives with 1 bar of health. And there's just, this Dome's almost off cool, almost down, almost out of time, which means he needs to decoy and just mitigate at this point. He got his down, and right now Roy knows exactly where he is. So he's not going to be able to run and hide. Here comes the Harpoon, going to be able to keep up, and there he goes. Just barely dodging those mortars as they were going to be the finishers, but it's not enough to keep him alive, and down goes Source. Hunters win round 2 against Source, which is YP's monster.
You know, Roy had a really easy job right there. I'm not to discredit a good Torvald player, but when you're focusing down the support that aggressively, just non-stop, and Val's doing a great job of keeping the support alive for as long as Bugsy did that, those mortars are so easy to land. You know exactly where the monster's going to go, which is chase after your support, lead it a little bit, launch those mortars, and Roy got a massive amount of damage in that Dome. In fact, enough to kill that Wraith if what my eyes are showing me were correct.
Yeah.
Bugsy, great job keeping Fav alive back there, and Roy with the punish. Got to dodge those mortars, and Source unfortunately did not dodge very many of them. Source has actually changed up his game, I feel, from Kraken. He's obviously playing differently because it's a different monster, but we see very often in ESL when Source is fighting against a Val, focus down the Val, and then continue to beat down on the Val until Val is out of combat, then either finish off the rest of the team because you have enough health, or go get some armor and then come back and finish off the rest of the team. But he is not focusing Val down this time. Last round, he went on round 1 for the Trapper Amy bot, and this time he went for Fav to drop the team's DPS, but neither of those worked. So I don't know if he's going to change up his focusing strategy, if he's going to juggle hunters around a bit more, if he's going to maybe try Bob. Who knows what Source is going to do, but TGL is really keeping people on their toes as far as picks, bans, strategy, team compositions.
And everything else that they're doing to try and change things up is we're seeing bans are actually reactive to each other, so they're doing what they can, right? So at this point, you're looking at it, and you're looking at everything that's causing variety. And in this case, we did see like all that damage and all that focus. This first game with the perk choice being on Val and her being able to use damage reduction. In the second game, we noticed that Source shifted his targeting because he thought she would be running damage reduction again, but instead, they did a nice little meta game there where they changed it from being damage reduction down to movement speed. So that was it was able to get the tranks, make sure that able to get those heals, and always get in position for the heal burst, which was you know nice to see.
And that helped out Cabot quite a bit because Cabot was being focused down. Amy Bot was getting beat up just a little bit. So movement speed, getting close with those heal bursts. Of course, Val's heal burst is only 15 meters, much shorter than Slim or Laz's.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to hop in, guys, to the next match. We got the picks
looks like
and
they're already
bands
starting with the bands, actually. So this is going to be the TPA Monster versus the YP Hunter team now. Right?
Yeah, and that means we are going to be going back to Orbital Drill. That's always going to be the map that we start on here in TGL because we determined that it was the fairest map possible. Anyway, we got them coming in here. Let me feed them to you, Seeds, so that you can show the people the lovely picks and ban screen. For those of you who are new to TGL, we have a completely new pick and ban system, much, much different than ESL. Basically, you get to ban a monster first. Right off the bat, hunters are going to ban a monster. And then the hunters have to call out a class, whether it be assault, support, trapper, or medic. Then the other team, the team who has to play monster, gets to ban one of those hunters from that class. So let's say they choose trapper, you ban Griffin, and then you choose Maggie from that class. You repeat that until all the hunters are done. You pick the monster last after you see what team composition you have to fight against. Once again, the bans are coming in. Nightwayne, representing Team YP, is banning Kraken. That's not too surprising whatsoever. Kraken has been banned.
Which means that the responding is that you have to get the medic announced, which Bugsy actually responds to that and says immediately, all right, we're going to ban Val. We don't want any of that. Right. We know how powerful she is. We've used her the last 2 games. We're not going to let you use her. Which means that they're actually going to be picking Kyra. So that's going to be interesting to see if they're going to be using that Accelerate. As opposed to needing Tranks, they have Accelerate as the option. And they have the AoE heals along with the heal burst. So those combinations will kind of work well. We'll have to see what the other 3 picks are in order to see what happens further.
Yeah, Kyra, of course, got a little bit of love in the micro patch. She is able to, all right, I guess title update. Heal burst 3 times in a dome rather than 2.9 as it were before, with a 20-second heal burst rather than 22. Kyra is on the field. Moisers is going to be very happy about that. And then the next class that is up for pick is support. For those of you who are confused, you can pick classes in any order. So you can go assault, trapper, medic, support, trapper, assault, whatever order the hunter team chooses. Support. Sunny was banned, and Hank is on the field. Kyra, Hank, going back to the old meta.
Yeah, I mean,
back in my day,
let
Evolve first game out, man.
Oh man, I hated that composition. It was non-stop everywhere you went. It was Kyra Hank, Kyra Hank, Kyra Hank. Just because of that heals with the shields, it was non-stop. You never ran out.
Oh yeah.
And then also with the release of Sunny, Kyra's power with the Accelerate plus the jetpack just means you never lost the monster. Like you were constantly behind it. There was no way to lose space. Like you had to basically do the Zero Raceway on Orbital Drill. It was the only way you were going to lose space.
Oh yeah, the Zero Raceway. We're around those rocks, man. Trapper is up next. Griffin was banned. Wow, they banned the speed team, DB Special. Sunny, Val, and Griffin. Sunny, Val, and Griffin have been banned with the speed, of course, of Sunny. The DB Special, Val, and Griffin are out of the game. TPA really doesn't want to fight against that.
Well,
I know it's a very
Griffin actually has a 100% ban rate right now with this recent change, which is huge because he didn't really get banned that much. He wasn't even picked that much prior to this patch, which means that with the recent changes to how, with the less deployables, which means his power increased because everyone else got lowered down a little bit.
Yeah, his sound spikes need to be placed a little bit differently, of course. That's a deployable. But Griffin also got a nerf to 9 meters of his harpoon gun. It's 41 meters now instead of 50, which is very, very notable. I've tried to launch some harpoons at 45 meters that just don't connect. 41 is all it goes to. Jack is actually being picked by YP. I don't
Yeah.
like to pick favorites, but Jack's kind of my favorite trapper. I love playing Jack. Jack and Griffin. I'm usually playing Trapper for DTP on PS4, and Jack is what I'm running. Up next, we have Assault. Torvald has been banned. Bugsy banned Torvald in anticipation for maybe playing a Wraith, and they don't want Wraith to get punished with Torvald like Source did that last round. I'm not certain, but Torvald has been banned. Once again, the bans, guys, Val, Sunny, Griffin, Torvald, the picks, Kyra, Hank, and Jack. And of course, Kraken has been banned on the monster
So
side.
with
So Hyde is coming out.
I think the Torvald ban is actually in response to the Jack pick, along with like the other ones being like Hank and whatnot for defense, which means that Jack plus Torvald, so with the repulsor beam plus the mortars, just makes it really easy to land those mortars. So if you put a well-experienced Torvald in that position where he has free reign to land mortars as much as he wants, suddenly you have a lot of damage coming in that the monster can't really do much about, especially with that repulsor beam. Like the repulsor beam just makes it so easy to land mortars.
Yeah, you hold the monster in place or force them to run backwards because the repulsor beam doesn't work when the monster is not moving towards Jack and his repulsor beam. So Torvald has been banned. And that's the thing with this extra pick and ban system we have here in TGL Season 2 is that there's a lot of extra counterplay and a little bit of a mental game here at the start. Why are they banning Torvald? Because Source just got torn apart by a Torvald, or because Jack is on the field and they don't want Torvald working in conjunction with Jack. I don't know. There's a lot of extra.
So there's that damage
play
coming
with
in
that.
with the toxic and everything else that's going to be used, which is going to be good because of the constant damage going to be put to stop. If they do go Wraith, the toxic grenade will constantly deal damage, revealing the Wraith's position, which is nice. So we'll have to see what else gets coming down. You do have the monster pick coming out right now, which actually is going to be Bob, the builder.
Bob is coming in hot. This is what the TGL rule set was designed for, to try to get Bob to be competitive and to force competitive players to play other things. So the bans are Kraken, Val, Sunny, Griffin, Torvald. The picks are Bob, Kyra, Hank, Jack, and Hyde. And this is why Bob is playable in TGL, is because Kyra and Hank are on the field rather than Val Griffin, who would slow Bob for days. Bob,
yeah.
already one of the slower monsters. If you stuck Val, Sunny, Griffin against Bob, man, Bob's not getting anywhere. But now that
Also, you look at
those have
Jack,
been banned,
right? Because Jack's not going to
Jack,
be able
yeah.
to burn through 1/3 of his traversal meter. He gets stopped. He stops traversing. He's not going to keep spinning into that. He's just going to say, you know what? Fine. I can stop. I can stop and start as much as you want. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. I can do what I want.
yeah.
So,
He's Bob.
yeah, he's Bob.
Bob the Hedgehog.
Bob the Hedgehog.
Bob the Behemoth.
But he's going to be able to do that, and that's going to be a key thing. He also,
He
if
gets
Jack
ready.
gets a repulsor beam,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
slowed down because he has to break the repulsor beam in order to jetpack. So it's an easy tongue grab at that point. So that's a good counter pick against the trapper that's being used against him.
Yeah, of course. Those rolls are super powerful, so I do like to use Jack to try to not get roll heavied. That is very painful. A lot of CC right there. But other than that, we got to be careful of tongues. We got to be careful of getting caught behind walls, inside of lava bombs, and of course, not get sniped on top of a rock from Fissure. We finally got Bob being played competitively, and I don't see him win very much. So let's see if he can take a W against this team composition.
So, of course, we are going into Game 3 of this series, which means that it's going to be YP Hunters versus the TPA Monster, which in this case is actually going to be Bugsy as we're getting into the game. It's launching now. So, yeah, we're getting ready to get everything set up. Of course, right now, YP does have a couple subs just because of people not being able to make it. Team TPA had their sub, which was AmyBot, and, of course, on Team YP, I believe it's Red Panda today?
I'm not sure if Red Panda is playing, but I know AmyBot is playing for TPA tomorrow in ESL as well. Red Panda, yeah, you were right on
Yeah,
that.
and it's Red Panda in the lobby. So, yeah, she's going to be the one that's going to be substituting in for Team YP. Red Panda is, of course, the medic for Team NDG, so Endurance Gaming, who is another team that will be playing in the TGL, I believe, unless something changes up until then. But I believe they're currently registered.
I think they have to work themselves through the bracket.
Yes, but
It's
I believe
DTR,
they're registered, aren't they?
DTR, Eyes on You, YP, and TPA have been invited. So NDG is going to have to work their way through the bracket,
Yeah.
which actually you guys in the chat, if you're listening right now, you want a part of that $1,750 prize pool? I know you do. Check it out. go to the Gentlemen's League.net